Now then, happy St. George's Day, everybody. Going to be reacting to the Lotus Eaters here, talking about St. George's Day. If you want to watch this without me talking, the link is in the description. Go do it now. Don't whinge in the comments later. And we'll get straight into it once I change the settings over. I do apologise about that. Anyway, away we go.
So they're trying to steal St. George's Day. This is actually not very surprising, and we've been predicting it for a while now because we've memed St. George's Day into becoming a thing, right? St. George's Day being a kind of national event.
I mean, for years it's pretty much been nothing. Nobody wanted to celebrate. It just passed by. Everybody would celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Although to point out, St. Patrick was from Britain. He was a Roman from Britannia. So technically he's one of ours. But you know, it's not a big deal. And yeah, like we've never really celebrated St. George's Day, so it's good that we're actually starting to take notice.
Is a product of the online right. It's a product of the people who are doing the flagging campaign. It's a product of the patriots who realise their country is being stolen from them. Before, I mean, all through my life, like when I was younger, nobody did anything for St. George's Day.
Correct, nobody did.
It was just never a thing that anyone ever thought about. And so this whole thing has been, not artificially, but organically brought up by people thinking, well, hang on a second, everyone else has their days. I mean, like, you know, St. David's Day, St. Patrick's Day, St. Andrew's Day. These are all things that the Celts pay a lot of attention to. But what do the
St. Valentine's Day, which is one people forget as well. People seem to think that Valentine's Day was just made up by card companies, but it's not. It's the day that St. Valentine's were martyrs on.
English pay attention to? And the answer is just nothing, really. And so this has become a desire for a point of anchor, I think, in English culture. I think a lot of people are like, hang on a second, no, we are a people, we have a place, and this is our thing. And of course, that means they have to try and subvert it. That means they have to try and steal it from us, and we're not having it. So
correct.
The best way to celebrate St. George's Day is honestly represented by the Japanese ambassador. Because, I mean, look, the man just can't miss.
Yeah, I've seen this guy before, like celebrating not just St. George's Day, but other British and even Irish holidays. He is a very good example of you know, the kind of I know he's an ambassador, so he doesn't live here. He's not he does live here, sorry, but he's not a migrant. He's not. What I'm trying to say is, though, that he's setting a good example for the kind of foreigners that we want in the country. I mean, look how immaculately he's dressed as well. Because don't forget, we invented the suit. The suit is British, and he's immaculately dressed as a British person.
Yes. Everything he does, he just does it respectfully and kindly. I mean, this is the video he put out.
Happy St. George's Day.
I mean,
maybe somebody could tell me the relevance of the roses. I'm not sure what relevance the roses have with St. George's Day, but it's nice, though.
If Keir Starmer had just done that as a video,
that would have been fine.
No one would have had anything to complain about. No, everyone would be like, well, you know, I hate Keir Starmer, but fair enough. Carry on. No, that's not what Starmer did. Starmer put out a statement, and this is attached to a speech he gave a couple of days ago.
Oh my dear, it stands for unity over hatred and decency over division. Those are the values I will always fight for. Some try to hijack our flag to spread hate, to reject their plastic patriotism. The irony, the absolute irony. Again, left-wingers projecting. All they ever do is project. They project their insecurities and their faults onto other people. That's all that leftists ever do.
Going on his woke crusade, as usual. And of course, you can see him standing behind the St. George's flag, in front of the St. George's flags there. And the statement, St. George's flag stands for unity over hatred and decency over division. Those are the values I will... Oh, right, so the St. George's flag stands for exactly the woke progressive mantra. Who could have known? Like, it's every other flag also stands for exactly that mantra.
Yeah, they love flags, don't they? We only have one or two, like the Union flag, the St. George's flag. Now, I suppose if you're in other areas of the country, you'll have your St. Andrew's flag and... or St. Andrew's banner, but whatever. And yeah, even with those few flags, they still like have to try and denigrate it. Meanwhile, they've got 17,000 flags. They have to like swap them in and out depending what's happening.
Incredible.
I mean, the whole story of slaying the dragon is the killing of evil. Is man rising up against evil and destroying it.
That'd be ridiculous.
It is inherently divisive between good and evil.
It's about unity over hatred of dragons.
Yeah, it's about the diversity. We need more dragons. Welcome the dragons in.
Decency of inviting the dragon in over the division of killing the dragon.
I mean,
I thought it just meant the English, personally.
Well, no, there is a moral lesson.
Of course, but let's not forget that for centuries, if a country's looked out off of their shores and saw a Union Jack, for instance, flying,
or the England flag,
flying and heading towards them, they weren't feeling the joy and glow of unity approaching.
That's true. They were the dragon.
Correct, Eric.
We're gonna get
They knew shit. Sorry for swearing, I suppose, but they knew shit were going to get real. So yes, they very much knew if they saw those flags, it was business time.
the rough end of it, right? But Ferris is right. It was adopted by, I think it was Edward I in the 13th or 14th century. I can't remember which one. But it was adopted because it was a story that had a moral lecture in it, right? And
It was sort of adopted after the Crusades, after Richard the Lionheart, but whatever.
this actually does matter. And so Keir Starmer here is just trying to completely subvert the moral lecture. You have a duty to destroy evil. And Keir Starmer's like, no, you have a duty to hold hands with evil and maybe give it a cuddle, maybe bring it into your house and let it fester. And so this is
the dragon in.
Obvious subversion that he's trying. And I
the St. George Society versus the Lizard Inclusion Society.
Yes, I mean this is exactly what this is. Like, and again, it's so transparent, right? It doesn't matter what the symbol that you put on the front of what Keir Starmer's going to say is. He's always going to be like, I'm for inclusion, I'm for diversity, I'm for decency over division, unity over hatred. He's always going to say that thing. So the symbol itself doesn't matter anymore. There's always one core ideology, one core message. And so no matter what Keir Starmer...
Yeah, it's always the same message as well with these leftists, man. It's always like the same, like, I don't know, 3-4 talking points. Unity, not hate. Diversity, blah 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 blah. We all know what the talking points are. It's always the same nonsense.
claims that he's supporting this day, you know it's a lie. You know he's hollowed out whatever it is, he's wearing it as a skin suit, and they all will do exactly the same thing. I mean, this is exactly what he says in this article, which is...
Like when the England women's team won the last tournament, and then suddenly everybody was allowed to be proud to be English all of a sudden for a little while.
In the mirror. He stands for, of course, the flag belongs to the vast majority who want unity over hate, decency over division, the quiet British patriotism, people contributing, pulling together and looking out for one another is what makes us stronger. A mindless minority brought violence and disorder into our streets. What are we talking about? Yeah. What are we talking
He's wrapping it back around to Southport.
He is doing exactly that.
Yep.
He is doing exactly that, right? He literally says, I know what the flag of St. George stands for. It stands for decency of division, blah, 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 and not those who stir up hate.
He was a soldier. He was a soldier. Like, how can a flag dedicated to a soldier be for unity, unless it's unity of our team, aka the Christians? Like, absolutely farcical point of view.
Those are the values I will always fight for. So the underlying message of his point here is stop complaining when a foreigner kills your kids. That's divisive. You are being divisive when a foreigner kills you, when a dragon eats your kids.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I guess I am being divisive. Yeah, I
Yep. And I'm not going to say what I was next going to say, because I don't actually want there to be violence and chaos in the UK. But with the way things are going, and the more they keep pushing and trying to steal parts of our culture and ignoring us, and I just feel like it's more than likely that what's going to happen.
No, I'm pro-division then.
This is the anti-dragon party here.
Yes, yeah, I'm very much, exactly, very much anti-dragons. And if there are dragons, then we should be slaying them, actually, is my moral position. And this, he literally says that it comes from Southport, as you said. This is what happens. He calls everyone who is complaining about murderers plastic patriots, which is brilliant.
That's a unifying message.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I will notice one thing about the Patriots is when I recently, on my own social media, said that the UK wasn't a shithole because it's a lovely country, it's beautiful, the most beautiful country in the world, and all the patriots were like super mad at me for saying that. And like, what, you're meant to be a patriot and you're saying your own country's a shithole? Are you for fucking real? Like, so yeah, there is some plastic parts of the sort of patriots. I feel like it's all for clout. They want to say that the UK is a shithole for clout. That's all. That's the reason they got mad at me about that.
Yeah, that's yeah. There's nothing more unifying than calling the people who disagree with you fakes. He says it's really important that we do that because there's no getting around the fact that there are voices both here and abroad who would seek to divide us, who would set us apart from one another, who want to pretend that in this country what we really do is distinguish between people. We don't. What? I mean, what? You're in favour of the devolved parliaments, right? Like here, because I mean, this sounds like, oh, well, why do the Welsh and Scots need their own devolved parliaments if we're not distinguishing between people? Is that not what that is? And of course, he then carries on that what they really do is distinguish between people, find their points of difference, and have a toxic culture of hatred between individuals, groups, and different communities. He then referred to attacks on synagogues and mosques as acts of violence designed to send a message to the Muslim.
What? How's that an act of violence? Why do leftists not understand what violence is? I swear that these idiots need to like get in a boxing ring and get clobbered in the face, and then they'll understand what violence is. Like, words aren't violence. Law, like taxes aren't violence. No, you know what I mean? I don't want to sound like I'm pro taxes here or anything. Not as if I'm like think that taxes are essentially theft, but yeah, like there's this sort of like faulty logic being perpetuated by the leftists is quite troublesome, and I'd be quite glad to see the back of it, but I don't think we will. I think we'll have to fight it for ad infinitum.
Jewish communities of this country to say that they're not safe. We reject their division completely. We will fly our flag proudly. It's our flag. It belongs to us. Fly for the values we believe in. And it's like, all right, so when Muslims and Jews...
So was it the Southport lads attacking the synagogues and mosques?
Yes, in Southport they were attacking mosques, but of course there were Muslims attacking synagogues.
It's like a triple threat, if I'm quite honest. And this is why I think like the UK, if we end up in a sort of civil war situation, you'll see like some sort of balkanization of the UK. I don't want that to happen. It's more than likely, unless we were to act fast and swiftly. But then that would be inciting to do something I don't really want to be involved with, because revolutions tend to eat their own children. So I do not want to be a part of that.
Implying that there is division.
Implying that there's no division.
Oh, I missed it.
Remember, the division comes from externally.
Yes.
And not from within the communities, the English, the Muslims, and the Jews, who he wants to all smush together and make them kiss. Right? And so it's like, right, okay. But actually, Keir, there are some real differences here. And when they attack each other's holy places, what are we supposed to do? Pretend there's no division, pretend this is all just external. If it wasn't for the Southport rioters,
or blame the
none
British,
of this would be happening. Come on. But anyway, so this is the general jihad against St. George's Day that's being carried on by the establishment, and you'll see all of them boasting this, basically saying, no, the St. George's flag stands for inclusivity. It's like, no, actually a flag is a demonstrably exclusive thing.
Yeah, a flag says this is ours, this is our flag for what is ours, and your flag is for your things, and it's not on our thing, so this is ours and this is yours. I mean, essentially, like, I'm sure that flags were essentially created from wartime to be able to differentiate between two sides. And that's exactly why they fly flags. I'm pretty sure, to be honest.
It stands for either a people or a concept exclusively of other things, and you skin suiting it into the multi-culti, homogenous blender ideology of everything for everyone all the time isn't actually going to be persuasive. And especially when you don't really try.
Yeah, because it's not like, if it was for everybody all the time, then why can't France fly it? France aren't going to fly the English flag. You know what I mean? They're going to fly that in Britain, the USA. I very much doubt it. So no, it's not for unity at all.
Why? Look at these crappy...
You don't see any American flags here, so the American flag's not for unity even. I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it should be. This is just a preposterous argument being put forward by the Islamo-communists.
The graphics that the Home Office have put up. What's this big black beam at the bottom? You didn't properly align this, did you? You're crap. You didn't even...
Yeah, that is pretty bad. I mean, some of my thumbnails have been not the best, but at the same time, I'm like not employed at the Home Office. Whichever graphic designer, or indeed an AI, should have been able to resolve that problem.
And try. I mean, like, yeah, nice crop dummies is the first comment. So yeah, like you not even trying, right? And then, okay, so it's pretty hollow when it's coming from Keir Starmer because it's just a crusade, right?
I love that it excludes the dragon.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
The whole thing, he's in the pose of stabbing the dragon. There should be some kind of spear or sword going towards the dragon.
There's no lance, there's no dragon. What was St. George even doing? Don't know. It doesn't matter.
Just riding horses for a hobby?
He was being inclusive and tolerant and multicultural. What was your problem, bigot? What did you think it was? But anyway, yeah, so this, bad enough from the Home Office and from Keir Starmer, it's their sort of ideological crusade. But it becomes even more laughable when the Greens are like, oh, yes.
Well, at least they included a dragon. But yeah, the Green, like, that's only so that when it comes around to celebrating other things like Dalwali, I can't remember, a need, that they can do it and go, oh, well, look, see, we celebrated St. George's Day. Not to be, like, incredibly negative about the Greens, but that is exactly why they're doing it. They're not doing it because they actually care about St. George's Day, and British people, English people, do their knackers.
Happy St. George's party? St. George's Day?
I'll have to admit, the actual graphic that they've chosen is a lot better than the Home Office one.
It is.
Yeah.
But that must have been weird. Can you imagine the conversation that led up to that? It's like, right, so we need to celebrate St. George's Day. What, the English nationalist holiday? Yes, everyone else is doing it. I mean, like, it didn't go well. I saw there was a comment from Connor on here somewhere that on my one that was, you do realise you're the dragon, right?
Correct, they are the dragon. Oh, well, I suppose Labour are the dragon at the minute, but once the next election's done and Labour are dead, I mean, the party's dead, not any individual people before anybody starts calling the police. I'm not calling for violence. But once the party is defunct, yes, they will be the next dragon after the Labour Party, for sure.
Okay, that's a bit weird. Not many Christians in the Green Party. But then you've got Sadiq Khan, and this whole attempt to co-opt St. George's Day into multiculturalism is a kind of attempt to put the English people on a reservation. It's an attempt to make us, to sublimate us into the cultural blend of, oh no, everyone gets their own little bit, because really England is for everyone, doesn't belong to the English, and therefore, yeah, the English are a culture, and they get a little stall at the edge of a little fate.
I mean, it's both in a way. The English are an ethnicity, but the ethnicity gives rise to a culture, which then gives rise to a nation. And then now we sort of have a country made up of 4 nations. People like to refer to England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland as countries. I don't really think that's the correct way to refer to them at all. They are nations, not countries. They were never at any point actually been countries. They went from the Kingdom of England and Scotland to Great Britain. That is a country. So there was at no point were we ever a country. But that's just me nitpicking.
And once a day, oh look, you go and eat scones and jam and things like this. And I'm not even joking, right? This is what he did. They had a St. George's Day festival in London. Right, so there we go. The St. George's Day festival, I mean, literally it's just kitsch. It's just a caricature of what English culture is.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if that is just an actual working bus or when they've pulled one up to say, oh, look, this is English. I'm not sure why it's so dead as well, unless just there's not many English people in London anymore, as we all like to assume. I mean, I haven't been to London in a long time, so I can't really say if that's right or wrong, but from what we're meant to believe, there's not many Londoners actually in London anymore.
And they had little, like, fates and things like that.
You are all loved?
Yeah. Like this.
Yes, you are all loved by God, but you also have to, I mean...
Yeah, that's a different conversation, right? So
here's all of our American food that we're selling at the St. George's Day parade.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But also
Yankee
they got
food.
it on the wrong day. So for some reason, Sadiq Khan posted it on the 19th. So it's like, right. And you can see his message here today on St. George's Day. I mean, he said, I've always said London's diversity is our greatest.
Oh my God. London's diversity has been its biggest Achilles heel. It has destroyed the city.
Strength. The hell are you talking about? What's that got to do with St. George? Well, today on St. George's Day, I'm joined by interfaith leaders from across London. Again, the English on their plantation. No, you get to sit next to all the foreign colonisers who are just as valid in your own country as you are. We come together to celebrate all that unites us and affirm St. George's Day flag as a symbol that belongs to us all.
That sounds exactly like the kind of Christmas message that Hezbollah leaders would put out in Lebanon. I'm not joking.
Correct.
Because they make a big show of all of this unity, and which obviously after a bunch of civil wars kind of fades away. But that's the same style of messaging that comes out in Lebanon and Syria when the Muslims try to congratulate the Christians on some Christian holy day.
Yeah. But the question...
Yeah. I can imagine that they do it. Because obviously they can lie to Kafir. They're allowed to lie to us. I mean, me as a Christian, I can't lie to a Muslim. I can't lie to a Hindu. I can't lie to an atheist. I can't lie to anybody. God is watching me no matter what. And if I lie to anybody, I pay the consequences for that. But Muslims, for some reason, they think that they can do sin. Because Muhammad was a sinner and wrote a sinful book called the Quran. They think that they can do sin. Naughty Muslims, you can't. You're not allowed to lie, not even to Kafir. You cannot lie to anybody. God is watching you, and that's why your life's a crap, because the enemy then enacts out retribution on you or uses you for his own desires because you're not on God's path. You're on the devil's path. And that's what happens when you follow Islam.
The question is then, well, why would St. George, why would his day be a day for people who aren't English, but also people who are not Christian, like Muslims, for example, or Jews? Like, do they recognize George as a Christian saint?
Weirdly enough, in Lebanon, they recognize George as some kind of saint.
Maybe in Lebanon they do.
Yeah.
Like, all the Jewish leaders.
I mean, Lebanon was a Christian country at one point. I mean, maybe they kept him as a patron saint. It was Christian while it was under the French control. But France goofed, and now it's not.
Do this? Is this, like, what are we talking about? No, it's a particular thing. It's parochial. It belongs to the English in England as a Christian, or say like post-Christian, Christian heritage country. You can't just say, oh, this is for everyone now. And again, we've got the skin suit effect. No, it doesn't matter what it is. The message will always be the same. It is the message that everything is for everyone all the time.
Critical drinker reference. I mean, it's crazy how many years that the message has been doing the rounds now, and Sargon's just used it.
For, Iftar and Eid and all these. No, they're for the Muslims. You don't get to have those things. You don't get to go for a pint and a bacon butty on Iftar or whatever it is, right? That's for them. And so, like, you've got like these sorts of caricatures. It's like, oh look, it's got a little cake and tea cakes and scones and a cup of tea and some strawberries. That's your culture to us. That's what you are. You're just on this little reservation. And Sadiq Khan said, our annual St. George's Day Festival is a fantastic opportunity to celebrate the best of English culture in the heart of our capital, with great music and performances, blah, blah, blah. Our free, family-friendly afternoon brings Londoners and visitors of all backgrounds together to enjoy what it means to be English. Again, you are a sideshow. You are in the circus now. You, as far as they're concerned, you are a part of their plantation.
I say we reject it. I say we take back St. George's Day. We reject these plastic politicians that do nothing for us. And we hopefully vote them all out and we can change this without violence. Am I optimistic? Not really. But, I do pray to God. Sorry. I do pray. Oh, when I get my finger. Wait, can I get? Yes. I do pray to Christ that we will resolve this without having to come to violence. But I kind of still think it's more than likely. But that's not a prophecy. That's not a prediction. Christians who are not prophets should not make predictions. Nobody should make predictions, to be honest. So I'm going to leave this one here anyway. Happy St. George's Day, and I'll see you in the next video.